We usually think of Chanukah, that we were in a lot of trouble, the Greeks were oppressing us, and we got saved pretty much miraculously, and then there was the miracle of the lights itself, and that is why we celebrate and commemorate. But actually, when we study rabbinic literature, the ancient rabbinic literature, Chazal, the Midrashim, and so forth, we see that they root it in something much, much deeper, even than that. It's located right back in the very beginning of creation itself. The verses that open the Torah describe the beginning of God's creation of heaven and earth, that the world was tohu, it was chaos, uvohu, and empty, v'choshech, and darkness, al pnei tehom, over the face of the abyss. And the Spirit of God hovers over the faces of the water, and God said, let there be light. And the Midrash locates, the ancient rabbinic texts locate within this a primal fundamental pattern, that everything goes through 4 phases of darkness before there is light at the end. And what it suggests is that Chanukah was not just, we happened to be in trouble, we got saved, we're going to celebrate, but actually it was an encounter with a root primal issue that had to be uncovered and developed to get to the end. More than that, the phase that we correspond to is darkness. Somehow we had to wrestle with darkness to produce light. And therefore it's no coincidence that everything that happened in Chanukah involves or culminated in a miracle of lights. Final observation just on this, of course, is the end of the verse is God said, let there be light. And that implies that the light of Chanukah that was used to conquer darkness then is the same light that will be used to bring humanity to perfection. And that therefore the lessons of Chanukah contain within them a fundamental issue about how we are meant to play our role in the world and help bring the world to perfection. And we're going to be studying this over a little series now. I'll just give one little hint, and it's this. That the very tool of the miracle of Chanukah, the menorah, was a candelabra that was lit inside the temple. And one of the questions asked is why you even needed it. You barely used the temple. It was the inner chamber of the temple, and if it was used at all, it was during day. And the Midrash in the Sidra Ba'alotcha, the rabbinic writing says, God says, I need you to bring light to my temple, because more precious to me than all the light I can bring to the world is that little bit of light that you bring to the world. And that therefore the fact there was a miracle involving that light is a miracle involving the human capacity to bring goodness to the world. And if you think about it just momentarily, we realize this is thematic to Chanukah. In Chanukah, there was no splitting of the sea. There was no open miracles happening. The miracle began with the courage of humans to stand for what they believed in against all the odds and say, if this is important, we're going to fight for it, even if we're almost for sure going to lose. And then incredible things come about. And Chanukah itself is not written in the Torah explicitly. It's something the rabbis and the Jewish people themselves created as our response to seeing God's hand in things. In other words, everything about Chanukah is a celebration of God in history, but perhaps even more so, of the human capacity to rise and become godly, do great things in the world, see problems, and do our best to solve them, even if it looks hopeless. If we care, we're going to try, and then the miraculous can happen. It's a celebration of the godly within the human and the light that we can bring into the world. And that's what we're going to study over the next 8 days.